What kind of hair is in your brush?
Illustrations by me.
So the fine people at Golden Maple said, hey, would you like to try our faux squirrel quill brushes? And I said, yes, of course I do. I know people don't believe me when I say it, but I love regular watercolor brushes. I don't use them a lot on the channel because a lot of the times I've mentioned this before. My desk, I have electronics around. I spill water all the time. I don't like to spill it on the desk. I don't want to ruin the desk. It's just covered with like a paper, and then underneath is just a particle board. So I don't want to ruin it. And you know, you get like a ring in the desk or something. It ruins it. You don't want to do that. So. But I would like to try these because I do outside of YouTube. I love to use regular brushes. Now, in the set are 3 faux squirrel quill brushes. And I said to them, well, I would love to try them. Will you do a giveaway for me? And they said yes. So, we're doing a giveaway again. Another Monday video giveaway. So, if you would like faux squirrel quill brushes, let me know down below. Say yes, I would like them. Again, I have to apologize. These are all... I work with the U.S. departments for all of these because I'm in the U.S. So the U.S. brand sends it to me. And they can do the giveaway in the U.S. So I apologize for that. But anyway, there's a 2, 4, and a 6 quill here. And they look nice. And this is the... Here's the thing. I've always wanted one of these smaller quills to see if it acts like a round. So what I'm going to do is, I have some competition for them. I'm going to do some tests with them. I'm going to see how much water they hold. I'm going to see how much paint they hold in a line. And then I'm going to see how they work. Like, do they just dump all the water and color at the beginning and then it just nothing at the end? Does it hold a nice solid line? I will test these out pretty well. I'm also going to test them, like the 2, I'm going to test against a silver brush number 8, which is roughly the same size as you can't see that because I got the thing on it. But the width of it is basically the same size. I haven't even washed these out yet. I'm just opening them now. But it's roughly the same size. So I'm going to try that against this and see. This is faux squirrel. This is faux squirrel. It's not a fair fight. This is faux squirrel with a little bit of real squirrel in it. So it might, I don't know how it's going to hold up. We'll see. And then I have this big cat's tongue, which is not a quill, but I just want to see compared to one of the biggest brush. Is it similar? Will it hold a little bit? This is a silver Atelier Squirrel Blend quill. This is a number 60 according to this. So it's going to be much bigger than this one. However, I think once I wash it out, it's going to be similar. Can you see that against something? I think it'll be similar. So it just want to see how it holds up against something that has, now this one I believe it's a squirrel blend. So I believe this one is pure squirrel. I didn't order this. This was sent to me on accident when I ordered from Blick. And they sent it with my order, and I called them. I said, do you know you sent me like a $60 brush? And they said, yeah, don't worry about it, keep it. So, nice people over there, wonderful people. But anyway, I want to see if they work the same as this. Now, like I said, not a fair fight, because this is completely pure squirrel, from what I understand. This is a synthetic. But let's see how they add up to each other. All in all, I have wanted some of these smaller sizes, too, of quills. I've wanted to use smaller quills to see how they work, and they work a little bit differently than other watercolor brushes from what I understand. So I want to see if that's true and see if I can get them to function properly. But they look like nice brushes. It's a nice black lacquer handle. The top has, I believe, this is like a plastic up here, around here. I don't know. This quill is a little different. It also has a plastic, but I believe it's a black plastic with like wire around it. This is a clear plastic with wire around it. Either way, it's plastic with wire around it. But I just want to see how they work, how they stack up. I'm going to do a painting and do a couple of tests first and then do a painting. And don't forget to tell me if you want this set. You have to tell me down below. Say, yes, I want to be considered for the set. So that way I can enter your name into the hat and I can pull it and see if you get these. So, all right, let's get into it. Okay, so I want to use this on some good paper here. So I've got this 100% cotton. It's the cold press watercolor paper from Meaden. I love this paper. Beautiful paper. Okay. So I'm in the I guess in the spirit of these quills, I'm going to use my Holbein palette because I'm not going to be washing these off very much. I'm just going to be putting color into this puddle here. There's a couple of hairs in that puddle, isn't there? There sure is. So I'll get those out. But anyway, I'm going to be using that palette specifically. I'm going to turn this way. Maybe you can see the color next to it. I have the water pot here that I'm putting inside here. It's inside this little square here. Wonderful, or rectangle, you know what it is. And then I will put all the color right up there. And let me see what I can do with this. Let's see how much space we have here. Okay, so first up, I'm going to take these Golden Maple brushes, and I'm going to just put some water. I've already rinsed them to get that stuff out, you know, the new brush stuff that makes them all stiff. I've kind of gotten that out already. So I'm going to just take this, make a couple of marks on the page, see how it goes. We'll just figure this out here. You know what, maybe I'll move it a little bit closer and then you can see it a little bit. Anyway, I'm not going to do a whole lot of cleaning of the brush like I was saying. So I just want to get some colors, some water going here, some color, that all wonderful stuff. I know I just picked up those stupid hairs because I left them in there. Wonderful. All right, let's see. So this thing, I mean, it's going to pick up a lot of paint here, from what I understand. It should anyway. It's a quill, so I'm going to start here and just go down, and nicely done. So it doesn't just dump all the color in one spot at one time. It kind of allows it to spread out very evenly, very nicely. And once in a while you'll get those cheap brushes that do that. This is an inexpensive set, but these are not cheap. So that's and it's still going. There's a lot of color in this brush. I'm not cutting away from this. There's a lot of color. You could probably fill up this whole page with color just from this one dip here. That's amazingly wonderful. You're starting to see some specks there, but my goodness, and I would probably re-dip there, but that's a lot of paint to put in for one brush. That's great. Absolutely wonderful. I'm happy with that. I'm not going to leave this stuff in here, so I do have a paper towel to the side that I'm going to lay some stuff on. And that's what I'll do. But the brush is wonderful. Held a lot of water. I mean, it's a quill. It's a big quill brush, so that's what it's supposed to do, and it does exactly what it's supposed to do. I want to try this little one here. So let me go to another page. Okay, so let me see now. I'm going to take the small one here. This is the number 2 quill, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to get some of this color here, put it here, and then I'm going to see roughly if this does as good as another brush, that other squirrel brush that I have over here, this squirrel synthetic blend, because this one is just the synthetic. There's no squirrel in this at all, and it's starting to run out a little bit. You're getting a couple of those things. Absolutely fine. Okay, we're gonna call that done right there. I'm gonna lay this up here. I'm going to wipe that off a little bit, lay it up here. So this is the silver brush number 8. Let's see what it does. Same thing, go into the color, into here, and let's see. Alright, so it ran out much quicker, and that's what was to be expected. Now I did have more concentration of paint on there, but this whole thing, this was loaded with water, I promise you. It was loaded with it. It just had some more concentration of paint in this, but it's the same thing. So And there we go, starting to get a little bit lighter. So absolutely wonderful, performs admirably, wonderfully compared to the other. I have no problem with that at all. Um, Holds a ton of water, a ton of paint. It just works wonderfully. And I know that I'm not using this correctly. I know how you would use something is like, oh, see, now there you go. So a new brush is always one of the things about them. You always have to look if you see any stray hairs and pull them out. That's normal. Don't worry about that. That's going to happen with every brush you ever use. There's just a couple of hairs that stick up. That's just how that is. But anyway, you would stick it almost up and then kind of swoop it around and do short strokes and long strokes and things like that. I get it. I'm not doing this the normal way. This is not, I'm not trying to make anybody proud here. So it's working great. It's wonderful. It's picking up the color wonderfully. It's putting in plenty of lines. I'm very happy with this. I'm very excited with this. And the other thing is a lot of times I like to wet an area. And you can't always do that very well with a water brush or with something. You have to like drop a bunch of water on it and then move it around, because a water brush really doesn't hold water. It's completely plastic. So you could use something like this here and you can just wipe the whole thing down with water wonderfully. Now let's look at, because I've only used this thing once too. So it looks much bigger than this quill, but it says it is. I mean, this is a 6 and this is like a 60. That's a different number. Just in case you were wondering, 6 is very different than 60. I know that confuses a lot of people, but it is. So this is something that's going to hold a lot more water, and it's going to, well, yeah, it's going to hold a lot more paint and water. So but that's fine. This is one working wonderfully. Yeah, it's hard to compare the two because of how different they are. They're both wonderful to use. I'm not having any trouble with either one of them, but I would say that the of course the 60 holds a lot more water than the other. Okay, good. That hair finally came out. It was sitting there, and every time I went to go to grab it, it would not come out. So anyway, because I couldn't figure out where it was. So it did come out on the paper right there. But that's going to happen once in a while. There's another one there. These are brand new. I was going to compare it to this one, but I think that's a completely different animal to say, hey, let's compare it to something like this, which is a 3/4 inch cat's tongue. It's just a different, it's a different shape. It doesn't work the exact same way. So I'm going to put that aside and not use that one. But I mean, compared to this number 8, I believe that the number 2 quill worked much better. I think it held more, but it's supposed to. Quills are supposed to hold more than rounds. I'm not saying that it's doing anything it's not supposed to do or something. No, it's the 8 shouldn't hold as much water as this number 2 quill, even though the quill is a little bit longer. Yeah, I can you see that? The quill is a little bit longer. Well, you know what? It's not to a point. Hold on. We'll get that to a nice point, and we'll get the other one to a nice point so you can see the difference. You can see there the quill's a little bit longer, and it's close to the same thickness, but maybe a little bit thicker. So it may hold some more water that way, and it's supposed to. It's a little bit longer, a little bit thicker. That would make perfect sense to me. Okay, let's do a drawing with it. So far, I have absolutely nothing bad to say about any of these brushes at all. But I do want to start a painting, and we'll do that and just see how it comes out. I'm going to still use these Holbein paints. That's something I love to do. So let's get right into that. Okay, so I'm going to start out putting the ink in, and I use this this is a brush I just found in the store somewhere. I've never used one of these before. So I picked it up. I figured, hey, this could work as my little, my sketchy pen that I use. I usually use the Pentel Pocket Brush. I'm using this one today. So I said I'm going to put some ink in. It's waterproof ink, so that's wonderful. And, in the spirit of the season, my favorite time of year is fall. And so I wanted to do something with either a mushroom or a pumpkin. So I said, you know what, I'm going to put them together. And this is called a mushkin. And so this is a mushroom pumpkin hybrid. But it looks a little, you'll see, it looks a little different. Anyway, I wanted to let you know, I painted with the golden maple brushes. They're great. For the small quill worked wonderfully, just like how I wanted it to work. So I was very happy about that. Again, that was the thing that I really wanted to work very well, because I've always wanted to use one of those smaller quills. It holds a lot of water. The thing is, when it's the faux squirrel, so just like the squirrel, it holds a lot of water. You have to be careful when you're doing the second layer on something with a lot of water. You'll see me go back and forth with the sky and the clouds, and it's just because it held a lot more water than I was expecting it to. So it ended up causing back runs and things like harder lines and things, so I'd have to go back in. But in the end, everything worked exactly how I wanted it to. I got a wonderful look out of this, and I highly recommend them there. If you like quill brushes, these are great brushes. I've never used a whole lot of quill brushes before, but the ones that I have used, these are on par with the best. So I would absolutely encourage you to try them if that's what you're in the market for. Definitely look up Golden Maple brushes. Like I said in a previous video, it's hard to find, art products that are not top of the line, because there's so much competition out there for these companies. They know they have to step it up. And this company, Golden Maple, absolutely did. They're wonderful brushes. I do recommend them. And so inexpensive for what you get. I was comparing that. I think I might have said a $60 brush. I think it's like between $50 and $60 when you go to Blick. But anyway, that brush and this brush is working just the same. And you're looking at something that's much less expensive, and it's a better deal. It's just in my opinion. I'm not saying the other brush isn't great. It's just a great deal, though. These Golden Maple brushes are good. Now, I don't know if this is going to happen again, but I just wanted to say that I was also looking forward to this video for another reason. Do you know that my #1 video on this channel is a 5-minute video on how to use a water brush? It was just a little thing I just did as an aside, and I just thought, yeah, you just do this. That is every month. That is my best performing video. I think there's over 20,000 views on it for it. It's a crazy thing that happens. You never know what people will latch onto. So you put something out there, and they can't latch onto it if you never show them. So it's very important that you do that. So if you've been on this channel for a while, you've heard this part before, because, well, just bear with me if you have, but other people have not, and there's a new audience all the time. The channel's growing, it's growing wonderfully, so always a new group of people to talk to, and the group of people that have been here that I'm talking to, sometimes I'm just reminding you, or you just get tired of me rambling about the same thing. That's fine too. So I know sometimes it can be hard to share things that we create with other people, and it's usually because we feel vulnerable about it. It's this feeling that, and you're told this is a lie, don't believe this, but you're told it's like the romanticized dramatic nonsense that as an artist you're putting yourself on the page. And if so, listen, if someone doesn't like that thing that you just put on the page, they're not saying they don't like you, but that's what you feel like, because you're told, oh, that's you on the page. So if someone doesn't like it, they're rejecting you. That's not true at all. I want to be very clear about this, and you will hear me say this a lot. What is on the page is not you. It's just an idea you had. We've all had bad ideas. So let me ask you this. If you have an idea and it turns out that the idea is bad, do you stop thinking? Do you say, oh, I had an idea, but nobody likes my idea, so I'm just going to stop thinking from now on? No, you don't do that. This is the same thing with your art. Share it. If someone doesn't like it, that particular one, that's okay. Maybe they'll like another one. You share a different one. Or maybe you'll find people who like that one. Maybe they just don't like how you think, or maybe you need to find your own crowd who gets it. That's the biggest thing. That's what I found here. Either way, you need to remove your ego and share something. I've shared this story before. I never thought anyone would care about what I was doing, let alone want more of it. But I'm here. I found my people. Or maybe my people found me. That could be that. That's probably the truth. Either way, it's a wonderful feeling to be excited to share something with people, and they actually want to see it, so they're excited to share that with you. So don't deprive yourself of finding your people. It's okay to be scared and you don't want to show your work. I understand that. It doesn't matter if this person doesn't like it, because I'll find someone else who does like it. So I can share this piece right here and people can absolutely hate it, and that's fine, because some people will love it. I approach it like this. When someone starts a business, and no, I'm not saying that you need to start this as a business. Just hear me out. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying your art is your business. I'm just saying, just here, this is just an example. When someone starts a business, they come up with an idea, and then they shop that idea around. If they can't find anyone to buy into that idea, that's fine. But once they do, it's called the proof of concept. So that's what you're doing, only it's art. So you're creating a bunch of pieces, you're sharing them with people, then you show some more people. I promise not everyone will like it, but once you find that crowd who does, you'll have a proof of concept. You'll have a proof that your work can find an audience. Now you just need to find more of those people. You can do this. How do I know? Because you're watching it right now. And if you've hung around this long, I have proof of concept of this video. Just think about that. The end result is so much better than holding on to your fear and anxiety. I promise you, if you don't know where to start, try showing maybe some people that you care about first. People that are going to lie to you and tell you how wonderful your art is because they have to. That's fine. Then you come out and you start showing people. And you know what? Come here. Send me your art. I'd like to show it to people for you. And I will do that. I have some art that people have sent that's getting in a video soon. It just recently popped through, so I have to put that on a video, and I've already recorded this one. But it will be on another video. Sometimes, all the times, I usually put it up on the website first, and you can see other people's art there, and I put it into videos. And then when I make comments on it, I'm just sharing with you what I look for in art. That's all I'm doing. So other people look for different things. And look, some of my work is terrible, but I share it anyway. Why? Because it's not about that. It's not about my ego. It's not about how good it is. It's about connecting with people. And that I can do. And so can you. It's absolutely wonderful to be able to do that. So please share your art if you can, even if you just do it for yourself. There's that little bit of you that may want to share something with someone. You're creating something. And when you can connect with someone over that, it's just wonderful. It feels good. It's like, oh, okay. Someone else understands what I'm trying to say here. It's important. I think it's important anyway. For the artist in you, it's important. Some people I know, you never want to share your art. They're just doing it for yourself. I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely fine with that. But if you're using that as an excuse to not show your art, you're making a terrible mistake. If you really would like to share your art and have someone connect with you over it, and you're just not because you're lying to yourself, telling you it's only for you, you're doing yourself a disservice. When you find those people, it's so worth it. I know I say this a lot. I do. But it's very important. I think it is. Okay, we will get back to this piece. And that is going to be another story for another day about that kind of a topic. But anyway, so I enjoyed doing this piece. I like the fall colors. I like the mushroom pumpkin thing. It's my favorite time of year. It leads, when you run into autumn all the way through the winter. That's just my favorite time of year, those two seasons. I love them more than any other season, for sure. I'm not saying I don't like spring and summer and all that stuff. There's just different things. Like, I get outside more in the fall and in the winter because I don't like to be, beaten up by nature. So I like to be outside when maybe the bugs aren't so bad and I can stand in one spot without being eaten alive or stung to death or any of those things. Those things I don't find very appealing, but I like to sit outside around now and just relax and take it all in. And I love all the different colors and the leaves are changing, and it's wonderful. It's a wonderful thing. And that's what inspires these kinds of paintings for me. All of my paintings are inspired by something in nature, or, well, usually, yes, something in nature. Everything that I do is something in nature. It doesn't always represent the thing in nature. This happens to be very distinctive in what it is. But sometimes I do muscles and things like that. I love looking at the musculoskeletal books and looking how the muscles attach to the ligaments and the joints and I love all that. So I'll look at that stuff. Sometimes that's where my inspiration is, but usually it's something right outside my door. I see a bird flying, or it's a rock formation, or there's moss growing on something, and I incorporate that into these abstract pieces that I do. You may not see it, but I'm going to do, now that it's getting nicer, like I said, to go out, and I enjoy this kind of weather, I'm going to go out and show you where I would find inspiration, show you a couple things, say, oh, see this? This is what inspired me, and this is what I created from this piece. That's definitely something I want to do, go on a little nature walk thing, a little sketching adventure, and I'm not going to go with other people who just want to go for a nature walk on a trail somewhere, and I'm going to force them to sit down while I spend an hour and a half just sketching something. I'm not going to do that to other people. I'll go by myself, and that way I don't feel pressure. I'm not subjecting anybody else to anything. I'm just gonna go for a little walk. We'll see how that goes. You'll see. So getting back to what I said right at the beginning, that I just went off on this long tangent, I do enjoy these brushes. The thing is, when you do that second layer, you usually don't use a quill on the second layer because it holds a lot more water. So when you touch it to the page, you run the risk of doing the background thing. So if you like to use the quill, you'd either be doing just a single layer. Even if you're mixing colors in that layer, you might have put multiple layers in the first layer, so different colors or whatever. But once it dries completely and then you go back in, you usually wouldn't go with a quill unless it was very dry, because it holds that's the purpose of it, is to hold a lot of water. That's the purpose of the quill by itself. So you'd use something else, maybe regular, like a smaller round or something like that, and that's fine. But especially the squirrel, the synthetic squirrel or the regular squirrel, it's designed to hold the maximum amount of water. That's what those brushes do. That's why when I compared this to other brushes like the silver brushes, that's what those are, that they hold a ton of water. These hold a ton of water too, and they're wonderful. They're absolutely wonderful. They do exactly what they're supposed to do for the kind of brush that they are. And when they get a little bit drier, you see how they bend to the side and they just kind of flop over a little bit. Like they're not held to a specific point or in a specific direction. As you use it and the water comes out of it, it kind of moves to the side, which then you can use. You can even put multiple colors on a page and blend them with that tip. Once it starts moving and you see it dry out a little bit, you can just blend the edges out or something like that. Speaking of wonderful, these people right here popping up on the screen, they're wonderful. I enjoy their company very much. We have a blast. So thumb up the video if you are going to try some quill brushes, especially these Golden Maple Quill brushes. And let me know, don't forget, let me know down below. Yes, I would like to win this set of brushes, and I'll get your information over to Golden Maple, and they will send you a set of these brushes because they are wonderful people over there, and I enjoy them. All right.